Hello, everyone. Welcome to Skyheiser coverage of the 2021 Seviren Lang Memorial Disc Golf Tournament in Georgetown, Indiana. My name is Ethan Jones on commentary, and alongside me I have the 2022 tournament director of this event, Colin Wise. Hi, Colin.
What's up, Ethan? How's it going?
Going just fine. And I also have Eric Lomax here, who's also a competitor in the event this year, as was Colin, so they're going to be giving their course insights in this tournament layout. Colin, tell us about this tournament hole 1, hole 6.
So hole 6 is our long par 5. We've kind of always played with adding OB to it, and I think this year we kind of struck a good medium. So there's OB left and right, left in the woods and right along where the baseball backstops are. So really you just got to keep it straight, or if you're going to swing it wide, do it, or you're not going to go OB left or right. But OB right's definitely the bad mess here.
Seviren Lang Memorial champion, Mr. Brad Schick.
Yeah, we see Brad starting us off with a pretty conservative hyzer play. Eric, how do you normally approach this tee shot? I think hyzer is the most common play, right?
Yeah, just a nice strong hyzer. It really plays better if you land a bit to the left, so you can throw another big hyzer to put yourself in position to attack the pin.
Yeah, keep you out of the wood line a little bit. You can see some movement in the trees. Wind is usually a factor in this hole. Eric, a dominant forehand player, starting off with the forehand. He's going to be close to that cage where you mentioned before, Colin, but I think his angle is going to be okay up there.
Yeah, no problem. He's on the high side. I don't remember if it was this round or the third round. It might have been round 3. There was a big right to left wind, and people were going OB left like crazy.
Yeah, the wind can change. It can be different at the top than it is at the bottom. You really got to look to how the trees are moving. We see a drive right in the middle there also.
Yeah, that was a pump. That was probably 430. That pole on the right, usually about 400 feet. So.
Yeah, definitely getting the job done off the tee there.
This is, I believe, the highest rated player in Indiana, Elijah Bickel, sponsored by Discmania. And that's a good kick off the tree to stay in bounds there.
That was a great tree there. That was not going to fade up for him.
Probably not. So Brad, real consistent player. He doesn't do the big flashy shots. He just throws the direct shot every time and doesn't really make mistakes.
Yeah, he's known for being a player with a really good forehand. And his forehand is one of those things, like you said, it's, I think, indicative of that style of play altogether. Just very controlled, does what it's supposed to do almost every time. We had a good second shot there. Just keep it out of the tree line and keep it this side of those cages and that Mando that you can see up in the distance on the right. Eric could get a lot of distance from this position with his forehand.
And that's definitely solid. That's leaving him a pretty easy forehand hyzer to the basket for the birdie 4.
I have seen Eric throw 2 forehands to a 20-foot putt personally on this hole before.
That's pretty nuts.
Tony putting it up there and trying to get in position. As much danger as there is, if you can give yourself a pretty stock shot for that third shot to get you a birdie, that's what you want. It looks like Brad lost his footing a little bit here, maybe a little high. But right on. You see the reaction.
It's a pretty cool split shot there to see his reaction. Yeah. This is how I see most people attack this hole. Try to land your second shot kind of down on the left, so you got it pretty easy, like forehand hyzer up to the basket.
Yeah, it seems like every year that Guardian on the right gets bigger and blocks the hyzer more and more, and the one on the left, as you can see, has died out. So it's definitely better to attack from that side if you can get in the right spot. This is a very high shot.
That worked fine.
Yeah, nice and overstable disc. Not going to fade out too much. Just come straight down. And this is that up the middle shot that you don't see a lot.
Yeah, he almost threw it too far on his second shot, and he's probably 40, 45 here for the birdie.
Yeah, I clipped a little bit of the leaf there. It's really easy to do going up there because you're kind of going down and then back up, so that ceiling actually comes into play quite a bit.
Just off the weak side there.
So we have different baskets than the coverage showed last year. We have the one of the newer basket models, the Chainstar Pro. And what do you guys think about these baskets?
I think they're great. They catch really, really well on the strong side. If you throw a good putt, they're going to catch it.
They've got a pretty nice heavy chain without being obnoxiously heavy like some of the other championship level baskets that I've played on.
Yeah, they're definitely that group that I would categorize as being heavy chains, but they do catch the right side there well, as you can see there.
Yeah. A lot of those heavier baskets, just anything off to the sides spits like crazy, and I feel like these actually catch on the sides pretty decently.
Yeah. Catch high pretty well too.
Yep.
As long as it's in the middle, that's what you want.
Thank you so much to the Floyd County Parks Department and the Langs, who their son is this event's named after. They donated a huge amount of money to get these new baskets, so big shout out to them.
Yeah, we love the support we get for this event and this course. Eric, tell me about hole 7.
Hole 7 is a nice downhill shot. Usually going to be a putter or mid-range. It's a late gap, so you really just want to throw what you trust. And if you're going backhand, which is primarily what you see, not here, but you might get a little bit lucky if you pull it off to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the right side is definitely more forgiving, like you said. This is a tomahawk.
I think that was a thumber, wasn't it?
Thumber or something.
Wow.
It's perfect.
That's really good. So if you have that shot, just do that. If you don't, you're mostly going to see backhands all day, but this card is only going to give us maybe a couple. This looks like a big disc.
This is probably a putter. This is pretty much the shot you see, just trying to go straight through, control the distance by using a putter. And he just came in a little early and got caught up. But like Eric was saying, if you go on the right side, there's a lot fewer trees and a lot more chance to sneak through.
Yeah. It seemed like that had like a bigger diameter than...
Might have been.
I don't know. Maybe it was some kind of a large mid. So this is the lefty forehand.
Yep. So here's just poking through like a regular righty backhand hyzer. And he got a little too clean, I think. So he'll be looking at a 45-footer for birdie.
Yeah. A lot of people are trying to get it on the ground, kind of where those stumps are. So you don't get a little too crazy going through there. There is out-of-bounds road behind. That could come into play on a rollaway from a putt. But usually it's not too dangerous to run this. But as you can see, the wind is definitely a factor here.
Yeah, it looks super windy.
Ooh, just off the cage on that one. That's a good effort from there. I kind of like this position, having like a short circle too, no worries run.
Mm-hmm. Uphill.
Yeah. That's a good looking putt.
Confident. What a good stroke.
That looked good the entire way. Just spinning it in the wind. I've had this putt a lot.
Yeah.
I think anyone who plays this course can relate to this one. Threw a really good shot, just didn't get quite rewarded. Had to kind of horseshoe it a little bit. It's windy. This comebacker can get sketchy on you because you get down there and your foot is pointed straight up the hill. It keeps it nice and low.
Yeah, it's windy enough to mess with your putt, but it's not that scary kind of wind where you're afraid you'll miss everything. This is probably 10 miles an hour, I'd say.
Yeah, something like that.
And Eric with the tap in with the thumber. Good birdie. So hole 8. This hole we've kind of played with, playing Mando left by this tree that we're flying by here. I think this year we're not in this basket position. I think we're on the left and there's no Mando. But really it's just a standard uphill, wide open shot. You can throw the hyzer around the right if the wind's good. Most people throw a forehand or just a straight mid or fairway driver.
Yeah, I believe the drone flights are courtesy of GK Pro from last year's event.
Yeah.
And there's almost always a pretty good headwind here, so if you have the forehand or you're a lefty like this, you want to just play the pure hyzer, because if you want to get techie with a backhand, it can turn and burn pretty quickly.
A little early there from Tony.
Looks like Brad's checking out the rangefinder.
Yeah.
It's like, which one of my shots do I need to throw? Oh, just low out of the hand. That hill that crests there will catch everything that's coming out that low.
Yep.
Even if it had a chance to get there.
I want to say this hole is 25 feet uphill. So, it adds a solid 60 feet of distance to that 285.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if you play it like it's 330 feet, you're probably playing it about right.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a little...
Oh, man. So he goes OB long on his second, so he'll have a... For him, probably not very scary putt for the 4, but... for me, I'd be knocking my knees.
It's going to be quite a bit more downhill than it appears to be.
Yeah.
It looks like he just let it go. Didn't get it quite as wide as he wanted.
Yep. The wind picked it up, and
Yep.
I think Brad throws fast discs a lot, so they get a lot of action once they start fading.
That's a difficult putt in the wind for sure.
Yeah, and this putt, Eric's a spin putter, so this might get a lot of lift on him. We'll see.
It's one of the toughest putting greens on the course, even though it's one of the easier holes.
Yep.
Yeah, so he kept it under the wind and it just never got up.
Yep.
Not a lot you can do, to be honest with you. This is one of the most common putts that you'll see on this hole.
It's so hard to watch, 2 or 3 people step up and totally miss a putt and then just get up there and bang it.
Nice comebacker from Brad. High in the chains. Unfortunately, he's not going to get the score that he would like on the hole, but stop the bleeding.
Yep. Yeah, like Ethan said, this hole, I think, has the smallest standard deviation scoring. So it averages like 2.8 and basically hardly any 4s in the pro field on a hole like this. Just about everybody can reach it. There's not a whole lot of danger.
All right, here we are on hole 9. A very difficult par 3. Most people, if you want to actually reach the basket, you're going to have to throw something pretty fast on a turnover line and get a full flight out of it. There is OB and a creek line, pretty much straight ahead and to the left. There is road OB to the right, but it will be really hard for someone to get there.
Yeah, that'd be like a way too much power kind of shot.
Yeah.
So Eric's probably one of the few people that could do this with a forehand.
Yeah.
And he's going to have
Good bounce.
long circle too, maybe.
Yeah, close to 80. I would guess Tony's basically doing the same thing. He's not going to get aggressive and go for a forehand. He's just going to throw a nice overstable hyzer shot.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of right-handed players just playing a forehand hyzer here, taking a 3. You're not going to lose any strokes to anybody taking a 3. Almost all the field is playing for that. But you can definitely get interesting.
That's
That
an
was
amazing
super
shot.
good.
Yeah, he didn't get pushed down in the wind. Maybe the extra spin with the backhand.
Maybe. That looked like a Sexton Firebird to me. So it had nice fade, but kind of pushed forward nicely as well.
Yeah. So Elijah is going to take that turnover aggressive route, but you see the wind's not letting it do what I think it would have done. That was a really good looking angle.
Yeah.
Not a bad shot. Should be a pretty easy par.
Yep. I've never taken a 3 on this and been upset.
Interesting to me that Brad is foregoing his forehand here. This one's coming out early. But
Good
gets
kick.
Yeah, good reaction.
That'll work.
Yeah. Tap in for the 3.
Do you notice that they had a different... We actually had the current basket on the drone flight for this hole, so maybe we got a mix of last year's and this year's drone flights.
Yeah, it could be. This was also in quite a bit different configuration last year.
Right, we played the par 4 last year.
This is definitely a tougher version of the hole.
Yeah, for sure. The actual raw scoring is almost... I mean, it's
Almost
not
the
that
same.
different. Yeah.
That was a good bid. Just a little right, nice floaty chain high.
Looking like a 45-foot attempt here for birdie. Nails it. Wow.
That is getting a stroke on most of the field right there.
For sure.
Very well done from Tony.
This hole is pretty much always the most difficult hole on the course. Averaging well above par. Even in pro.
Yeah, it's very fair. There's the gap's plenty big off the tee. Big wide open area down there, but it's just a very, very difficult line if you want to get the birdie 2 on it. And there's a lot of trouble to get into if you decide to get aggressive and make a mistake. Or if you play safe and make a mistake.
Yeah.
Hole 10, why don't you tell us about it, Colin?
So this is pretty much a straight shot. You gotta really hug the woods on the left for a righty and do a little bit of flip up to really penetrate through to this raised basket area. You can try a hyzer and poke in. It might work, 30-40% of the time. I'd like to see Tony do some sort of flex shot here. So I think that's actually the best line.
Lefty flex is the purest line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
Wow,
gosh. He almost aced it. Wow, that's such a
Almost
good
went
shot.
in. That was chain high.
Yeah.
He missed left.
And see, Eric's
crazy.
basically going to do the same thing. He's going to throw some sort of forehand flex shot with the same shape.
I wonder if he's throwing his max here.
You're all going to say, that's not what a max does. But that's his max. It's flippy.
Yeah.
So he was a little high and didn't get under the canopy there.
Still has a putt.
Probably 50 or so.
Yeah. Free run at it. Up on that little structure there. So Elijah's going with the slower disc on the straighter line.
That's the most common mistake there, is just pulling it a little wide.
Yeah.
You really have to hug those limbs on the left.
I think if he'd have maintained a little more hyzer out of the hand, it would have been just perfect. We'll see if Brad goes with the forehand or backhand. So he's going wider rim. He's going to do that hyzer play most likely. And yeah, it got to the bush really quickly.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult when you're in that rough. Well, it doesn't look too bad.
He's actually at the bush by the short basket, not the
tree
the
line.
rough.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fortunate. But yeah, if you turn it over to the right, you're looking at a really difficult approach to the basket.
Eric's up in the wood chips. And Elijah might have something in here. If you sneak back through to this backside, you can get some looks at it. Usually pretty obstructed. He's about 34 feet. And that one could have stayed.
Yeah, it looked like a great putt.
No basket's perfect, unfortunately. Good save by Brad.
Yeah, he'll be taking a 3 as well. Most of the other players on this card.
Yeah.
This is a putt that is very downhill that Tony has back here. But he shouldn't have too much of a problem with it.
Yep. That's a good birdie. This hole, I think, averages pretty close to par. Just slightly under. There's just not a whole lot of danger, but it's much harder to get the birdie than this used to be, 240-foot brainless hyzer.
Yeah, this change was introduced before the event last year. But we have new changes now. Talk about the new tee pad and what it does in this hole, Eric.
Yeah, this is a very difficult par 4. The new change, it pushed it back, 100 feet. It gets you a little bit higher up, even with your landing zone, so you have a chance to really find that opening to a putter, hopefully downhill shot. But it can get away from you really quick, and the rough is rough.
And I just realized how nice it is to be a lefty on this tee shot.
Yeah.
That's a really, he's maybe a little short of where the optimum shot lands, but that's just kind of an easy hyzer.
Yeah.
Righty backhand here, you got to turn something over pretty high and keep it turned over. And that can be pretty difficult.
I guess he's going to have more of a challenge with the lefty shot on his second.
Oh, man. That came out super early.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Well, that's so common, though.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised the difference between shots that do that and shots that wind up where they're supposed to. It's very tight, especially when it's windy.
And it's usually a tailwind, so it's not going to hold the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting on the traffic. Can refocus, reset. It's going pure hyzer. This looks like it's trouble to me, though.
Unless it's far enough. Nope.
He does have the power, though, that if he hits that perfectly, he can get way down the fairway.
Just turn it up a little bit more than that.
I think this wind is just a little bit right to left.
Get through there. There you go.
Brad's going to be not in scoring position, but he's going to be safe. You can technically get up and down from there.
I've done it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I just threw the best shot of my round for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, being there versus where Eric's at here, I'd take Brad's all day. Eric's just going to be struggling to get himself to a spot where he could possibly get up and down.
Yeah, taking a 4 from here, you're looking at trying to chop out some kind of forehand roller, some kind of flexed forehand, maybe even a thumber. I don't know. He's got a few discs here that look like they're in that vein. It's just about if you have a window or not. There's a little trail that runs down to the previous hole from here, so a lot of times you can find that. Looks like he caught a little bit of cabbage coming out. We'll have to see where that finished, but it seemed like he's going to have some more work left to do. This is a combination of accuracy and touch required on this one. Looks a little left.
Yeah, it looked like he was throwing a pretty fast disc, which it's really hard to get something to not go left at the end.
Yeah,
versus, Tony's probably throwing a mid or putter here and should have a nice straight finish. But he left it a little high, so he'll probably just be chipping down the fairway for his par.
Any angle so tough because you got that high floor with the hill, and then the branches make you keep it low, and you still don't have much room.
It looks like Eric found a great spot with his scramble.
That's looking good too.
Hit
It's
something.
Wow.
almost too good. Wow, he's gonna have opportunity to save 4 from a not great drive, so that'd be big if he gets it.
That's all you can ask for.
Looked like an attempted pitch out, but caught some cabbage, and he's still scrambling.
Yeah, Eric made a great point about the rough on this hole. It's some of the roughest rough on the course. Most of the holes that are fairly open on this course have extremely rough, but this one you can find it a lot easier than you can a lot of the other holes.
Thought he was giving that a bid. So that should be a pretty easy cleanup for 4. And compared to the old tee position, 4 on this new tee it feels just fine. I believe this averaged a little over par.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very downhill. You see that try to run away.
Yeah.
If you can't tell on the camera, it's very, very downhill at the basket. And if you give me a circle's edge after that drive, I think anyone would take that. Oh, just a little high. Gave it enough.
Couple bogeys, couple pars. That's pretty standard scoring, I'd say, on this hole.
Yeah, very typical.
Definitely feels like a bonus to birdie this one.
So I think Tony's going to find himself with a couple strokes lead at this point.
Yeah. Playing solid. No bogeys yet. A couple really good birdies. This is hole 12. Just pretty much your standard 300-foot downhill tunnel shot. There's not a whole lot of ceiling, especially at the start. And then you just have this nice 25 to 35 foot green to hit.
Also, the whole left side of the fairway for the first 200 feet is OB, so if you get a bad kick, sometimes you can add up strokes pretty quickly.
And that's a really good shot.
That's as good as you're going to see.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get down there that cleanly. Forehand plays pretty good on this hole if you got good power like Eric does. Just a little bit wide.
Yeah, just flipped over a little bit.
That was just going to be perfect if it got through there.
Yeah, from this angle, you can tell that this tunnel it's a true tunnel. There's nowhere to fudge it. You got to go straight down the middle.
Yeah, Elijah's just really good throwing these slower discs. I think it sets up really well for him. Just a little bit on the left side. Looks like he might have dropped safe though.
Yeah.
One thing about this tee pad, local knowledge, it's kind of pointed over to that area where he hit.
It's definitely the miss I see the most often as well.
So he's going for the backhand. Most people go for the forehand scramble here. He's going for that backhand, trying to hit this gap. And he gets across. The work's not over yet, though.
You know, I played the second round with Elijah, and I asked him because I thought he had a good forehand, and he had told me something about it wasn't comfortable at the time. So, you know, I think that's why you see him basically everything backhand, because that second shot he just threw is all day forehand shot for anybody who's got a good one.
Yeah.
And that, you know, for such a good player like him, it can definitely be tough to deal with. But he makes it work and got his par.
Yeah, again, nothing wrong with the 3. A lot of these holes, there's nothing wrong with par, but at the same time, if you want to be in contention, you have to get about half of them. So the course is playing fairly tough with the conditions, with the wind, some of the new tee pads. But if these guys want to be in this at the end, you know, you got to start scoring eventually.
Here's hole 13. It's par 4. It's been pushed back, I'd say, another 100 feet as well. There is a Mando just in that rough to the right. So you're going to see mostly stock forehands. You want to at least get about 300 off the tee to have another 300 or 350 righty backhand.
That was a nice shot from Brad. You know, the ideal shot here is going to move another 50 to 100 feet right from where you just saw. And I think Eric could have the power to get one up high and do that.
Yeah, he got it high. It looks like if the wind is blowing the same direction, a little bit right to left that it was on 2 holes ago, it looks like it is. That's the worst wind you can have on this hole. It's going to make your tee shot come up way shorter than it should, getting pushed down. It's going to make that second shot really difficult as well.
Oh, nice. See, that just pushed right the whole time. So Elijah's probably going to have the easiest look at the second shot here.
Now this can be interesting if you're far enough back how you attack this. So yeah, he's going lower. A lot of times players want to be in a position where they can just go above everything. But Brad wasn't. And if he tried to go up and being too far away, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble you don't want to be in on a hole that's fairly easy.
Easy to par, but definitely takes 2 good shots to get that birdie now. The second shot, yeah, you got to swing it really far to the right or be really high. This might be high enough to go over. No. So that's the most common result, is those 2 guardians just getting all the forehand or the backhand hyzers coming in.
So Tony now going to the forehand.
Ooh.
That's a good reaction from the tree.
Yeah, it had a lot of ante on it because he was probably trying to get way around, you know. It looked like it was working.
Yeah, I was trying to. That's one of those where off the tee he had an advantage, but the forehand's not quite as powerful as the backhand. You try to get a little over on it, get a little extra distance. Elijah with a good-looking shot. And again, he made it further into those guardians than anyone did, but he still got tangled up in them.
Sometimes you can even go in front of them and have a pretty decent putt.
You see that pin marker on the left where the basket is occasionally. That area takes the Guardians out of play if you can win it like between there and where the pin is now.
Mm-hmm. Basically just seeing some stock 100-foot half goes here.
This is a berg, so it just sits down, doesn't go anywhere.
Elijah might be 80. Right in front of it.
Yeah, pretty good run. This is a putt that's just uphill enough to make you focus on it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think the timing was affected there a little bit. He's not going to be feeling too good about that one.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those putts where you're on a roll and it just takes the wind out of your sails. So we'll see how he bounces back from that.
Yeah. And then the next hole, it'll be interesting to see how he attacks that one.
Hole 14 is another new tee pad. And we're playing this just huge uphill shot onto the dam here. So distance is 350, but it's easily playing, 410 to 430. See Brad's lining up off the side, probably for a big Andy shot. Yep.
And this one's going to come out early, land by that bush and roll down. You'll see that quite a bit. Because you feel comfortable enough getting the disc all the way over with the full flex with the road on the right a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think there's a mental factor to that as well. You see it coming into play here for Eric as well.
And I'm not sure where the wind's coming from right now. Kind of head or right to left a little bit.
Yeah, probably a little bit of that.
So, if you got the power to put something overstable out on the right, I think it would swing back nicely. But that's what Elijah's trying here.
If he avoids that tree, he gets around it.
Just a little low, a little bit more height, and he probably could have put himself real close. And you really want to be close on this one. There's a big drop off behind the basket, and if you run your putt, it can get away from you real quick.
Yeah, another extremely challenging exposed green. Okay, so he does go back in here. He gets fully on it. A little higher, I think that would have been right under it. Allowed to unravel a little bit. But it is a pump to get up there.
Yeah. So basically everybody's got really scary long putts. This is 70 or so. Brad's probably 40.
Looks like a run.
Yeah. Yeah, he is at least going down or, across the hill. So he would have had to get a lot of lift and hyzer out to be in a terrible spot.
I think it might have been the Berg as well.
Mm.
Not a bad choice in the situation for the Berg lovers out there.
And Elijah doesn't want anything to do with it. And I don't blame him.
No, it's too early to mess up your round.
Yeah. Think Brad wants any?
He looks like he does. He's played too many tournaments to care anymore. He's
He just wants to win.
He's just all go.
That was had good pace though, so that might not be way back. Yeah.
If you're like Brad and you got a good stroke that dies immediately after the basket, anyway, you can be a little bit more aggressive there. I think some guys have that putting stroke, where it just lands so close every time. And some are more aggressive spinners, like Eric. which is good if you're facing in the wind like that. All right, that's going to wrap up our front 9. We have everyone still within 3 strokes. Tony has put together a good round. He's 3 under even with the bogey.
Nothing wrong with even, but I think these designated players are going to want to make a push on the back 9 and put together a solid round.
All right, catch you on the back 9.